Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering The Host. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I don't have it with me because it's supposed to be refrigerated, but I made a London Fog tea thanks to the Republic of Tea London Fog tea concentrate. It's like a little bottle of it, and it's like you do like a tablespoon, and then you add this is non-dairy oat barista milk or whatever, non-dairy milk. And it's pretty tasty. If you like the Starbucks London Fog tea, this is pretty close. I think, maybe I'll add some caramel next time. Anyways, but that's what I have.
Sounds tasty. I'm shaking things up a bit and drinking Brutality's The Silence of the Jams tea. It's got black tea, strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, raspberry leaves, hibiscus flowers, rose hips, natural strawberry, and forest berry flavors.
For our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary of The Host, just think she's so funny.
Feeling a little sassy, okay?
Yeah, I feel the sass.
You have not begun to feel the sass.
We just finished eating lunch, and so we're just high off of our meal.
Food makes everything better.
Yes. So The Host, a U.S. embassy, or was it just a military base? Maybe it's just
a military base.
Yeah. They're like, we have all of this formaldehyde, and they're like, we need to get rid of it because the outside of the packaging is dirty. It's got dust. And so they dump a whole bunch of formaldehyde directly into the water system, down the drain, and got some mutations. And then so this fish becomes a mutant and becomes big enough, and it's gonna start eating people. And it's about this family and their experience with it, and the government experience. But yeah. So for entertainment, oh man. I'm dancing between a 7 and a 7.25. I'm probably going to lean towards a 7. Just because, whenever I went to see this movie, I thought it was going to be a more serious movie. And I admit that, I went in with a certain expectation. And so that might be a bias on impacting my rating. But it was just such an odd movie because it really danced between being serious and being silly.
Oh, yeah.
For example...
It tap danced between the two.
Yeah, for example, he thinks, the main character, he thinks that his daughter got killed by the monster. And so they all, him and his whole family go there to, mourn... the loss of his daughter.
God, that scene. The wake.
But then they all start crying on the floor.
It was so over the top.
It was really awkward. And then people were just I think it's a commentary too on reporters, because the reporters were just taking pictures and doing all that. But
grief vultures.
Yeah. But it's another one of those movies where they didn't kill off, I think you pronounce her name, Hunya Seo, or who? This is a Korean movie, by the way, South Korean movie. I don't think we can get a hold of North Korean movies, but
I don't think so.
I don't think we'd want to though. But anyways,
sounds a little.
That's a whole different genre of movie right there. But anyways. I was not expecting them to show or try and kill off the daughter, or make you think that the daughter was killed off, but it ended up being a huge motivation in the movie. But I will say, oh my God, like, the fact that they added the part that they thought that a virus was connected with the monster, and they're doing like quarantine and all of that, and they're wearing masks. This movie came out prior to the pandemic. I think it's again like an early 2000 or 2015 movie. Anyways, it's before the pandemic. And it was just like, whoa, like flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing that I completely identified with, I thought was really funny though, is like they're all, like this crowd of people are standing.
I know the exact.
Yeah,
thing
and
you're
this
about to
guy
talk about.
like is sneezing or something, and then he spits. And then a car comes by and splashes of water all over the people, and the people just lose their mind. I'm like, that is an appropriate reaction.
Relatable.
But no, like, it's like, this is a very odd movie. Like, I will say, as far as like entertainment goes, I was definitely entertained, but I was also slightly confused because I didn't know if it was like trying to be serious, if it was supposed to be like a comedy, and I don't think it even knew what it wanted to do.
I don't think so.
But, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they made the dad like, he wasn't the sharpest pencil in the case. But I did find that they showed the different motivations of the family members and kind of like had their own arcs. And the creature, while I thought the creature design was pretty solid, like as far as like a mutated fish, I didn't find it that like interesting. The thing that I thought was the most interesting was the fact that it wasn't like immediately eating people.
Yeah.
It was like saving them and like bringing them back to their base, which is how you find out that the daughter actually like lived.
It was building up its pantry.
Yeah, yeah.
Which some animals do.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, this movie was weird. But I will say the dad or the grandfather dying, that was sad. I was sad that they killed him off.
He was one of the most sensible ones too.
Yeah. And they did a good job in two different parts. First, like all of the scenes with the girl in the little like sewer cavern or whatever, those did feel very tense.
Yeah.
And because you knew that what the risks were.
Yes.
And she was trying her hardest to get out, but she was also like trying to like keep herself alive. So, and the way that she tried to get out too, was smart. It didn't work, but
she was trying, and the things that she was trying made sense.
Yes, yeah. So, I feel like the little girl, the scenes with her were really good. They were really intense. She was being pretty smart about things. Like her trying to call her dad and stuff, and trying to keep finding a working phone. That was really smart. I guess that's leaning more towards realism. Mm-hmm. But another part though was you could feel the frustration with the father on how he's telling the authorities that his daughter is alive, and they're like, he's delusional.
I spoke to her on the phone. Oh, you just hallucinated that. The gaslighting is strong with this one.
Yeah, so I thought they did a good job on bringing that frustration. But yeah, it's like, this is an odd movie. I feel like it really is a mixed bag movie. So if you watch it, you're either going to enjoy it or you're going to be like, meh. Like, it's not a bad movie, but like, tonal wise, and I don't know if it was intentional. I don't really know a lot of backstory about this movie, but I mean, I was entertained. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. So. I personally give it a 6. Like, it was all right, but I couldn't really bring myself to care about most of the characters. Like, I cared about the kids.
Yeah, the two kids is what I felt the most about, yeah. But the grandfather too, because he's
little,
just like,
but I mean, when he died, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. But I didn't really super care. Like, it was a passing, oh, that's a bummer. Kind of liked him. Oh well, kind of thing. Which I know makes me a bit of a bad person, but but most of the characters are kind of trash in this movie. Like, personality-wise, they just suck. So, yeah, I couldn't really feel myself fully invested in it. I also was wondering throughout pretty much the entire movie why it was called The Host.
My best guess was the monster was like hosting the girl in his little sewer cave. But yeah, that doesn't even like make complete sense.
The only thing I could think of was because they were trying to say that there was a virus.
Yeah, and so the monster was like the host of the virus, maybe.
Well, I was thinking like they kept going after the dad.
Oh.
So he would be the host of the virus, I guess.
Oh. Yeah.
I guess. And they were trying to contain him so he didn't spread it, but there was no virus.
Yeah, it was a lie.
And he wasn't exhibiting any symptoms or anything. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Call it literally anything else.
Yeah. What did you think about how they killed the monster?
I called it. It was super predictable.
I thought it was kind of cool that they all were working together to kill him.
Yeah, that was kind of nice, but again, predictable. So, like you could see it a mile away. They hinted at it throughout the entire movie. So, the only thing that was slightly different was the Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. But, you know, I was like, okay. And not realistic at all either, so, you know, whatever. But we'll be getting to that. The little girl was the best part to me.
Yeah.
And most
sure.
relatable, enjoyable part, and it made me very, very sad when he died, or when she died, sorry. Again, I was a little bummed at the grandfather, but he wasn't there for long. And again, a lot of the older characters kind of suck personality-wise, so I didn't really find myself attached to any of them. I was very annoyed for the father of not being able to get anyone to believe him apart from his family.
Yeah.
Makes a little bit of sense with, you know, government wanting to cover as much as they can up and everything and contain the situation, but definitely frustrating.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep. So. But I don't really honestly have much to say about this movie. It's definitely more of a background movie for me. I'm not mad that I watched it or upset that I watched it, but I'm also probably not really going to seek it out again.
Yeah, like, I might watch it again, but it won't be, like, super soon.
Yeah.
And just be like, once in a great while.
It felt kind of like a sci-fi original.
Yeah, I can see that.
Slightly better, but it felt a lot like a sci-fi original.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, it was just kind of
Realism. That's a tough one.
I'm gonna take a tea break.
Oh. I'm gonna give it a 2, I think.
Fruity.
Is it flavorful?
As brutalities often is.
I don't know. It depends on the tea, but I will admit, no offense to brutalities, that their tea is hit or miss for me. But also depends on, like, the brewing instructions aren't, like, the best.
It depends on the brewing instructions and how much
Yeah.
you use.
Yeah, you have to kind of do a lot if you want, like, a lot of flavor.
Yeah. Which I do, and I did.
Good.
And it is tasty.
But, so realism, I'm going to give it a 2. And it's so funny because one of my notes here is I hope the dirty guy from the military base is explained because throwing out embalming fluid for that reason is ridiculous. Yeah. And no, it's never explained.
Never. They never show him again, ever.
Nope. Formaldehyde, I don't think it would cause a mutation. It would probably kill a bunch of things. Oh, it can?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, even if it did cause a mutation, the animal changed its behavior completely, and I don't think that would happen. Like, it would mutate, but it would still be doing its fishy thing.
And it likely wouldn't have been that fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that dramatic.
Yeah. Or like, I want human flesh.
Yeah. Like that big, I mean. Like.
Oh, yes.
Tiny fish to giant monster.
No. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But I did end up looking that up.
Okay. Interesting.
I was also curious about like all the fumes coming off it. And while it wouldn't have had that many fumes from one bottle, when they showed all of the bottles, that made more sense. Mm. So it does evaporate, which is what the fumes and all were for. And it was right that he was wearing a gas mask while doing that. They are not safe to dispose of via drain. It is considered a biohazard.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was correct.
Yep.
Especially that many bottles.
Well, and then also, so why was that the only creature affected?
Yeah, that. Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There should have been a lot more mutations and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like the government response to it, I feel like was pretty realistic, pretty spot on.
Fairly fair. Yeah.
I will say though, like them drilling in his head and all of that, I didn't really understand that. Like, even if it was a government cover-up, I don't know how that would benefit them at all.
It seemed like they were trying to basically do a lobotomy. But otherwise, I can't think of a reason for it. Because they said right before then that there is no virus.
Yeah. It's like the government can use media to spread the lie. They don't need to be like,
nope.
Let's pretend.
I feel like it would have been easier and more realistic if they tried to just put a bullet in his head and say he died on the table. Or died of the virus, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Because the more realistic stuff is like the kind of more realistic stuff is like the family ties and like the relationships and stuff. But it's still
honestly about it.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's basically it. I give it a 2. And it's basically for that. I did find it interesting how they had quote unquote Agent Yellow, which I believe was a reference to Agent Orange that was used in Vietnam.
Oh.
Which did cause a ton of issues and potential birth defects and everything for years after. So it's unclear whether the little girl died from the monster or Agent Yellow. Which is frustrating. Just personally. But yeah. Most of the movie is just no.
Yeah. You know, one thing though.
No, realistic wise.
One thing, the monster was under, or I know like some of its top half was above the water, but like its mouth was under the water while he had the two kids in his mouth for a good long ways. I'm honestly surprised that the little boy survived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when it was swimming with them in its body. Yeah. And they can't be holding their breath the entire time, because if they're in its body, it's trying to digest them, like swallow them and digest them. They're getting squished that whole time. Like there's constant pressure. So I highly doubt they're holding their breath the whole time. But yeah.
Yep. So, like, I do think the movie is worth a watch, but it is like, it's a mixed bag. So you'll probably like it or you won't.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of just an eh.
yeah. Yeah. Like, if you are interested in Korean horror,
And creature features.
and well, I was alluding to Train to Busan.
Oh yeah.
That's a
That's a good
solid
one. Yeah.
Korean movie. Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely not on that level.
Nope. Yep. Which, and I know Parasite, I believe, has won some awards, but we haven't covered that one
Not yet.
And actually, whenever I told you the host, for some reason in my head, I thought it was that movie. But then whenever I looked it up, I'm like, oops, it's
Wrong one.
Parasite. Wrong one. But it's like this one I have seen pop up as recommended for me a lot on, especially like horror platforms like Shudder and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been curious about this movie, but yeah, it's okay. It's a fun ride, but not amazing.
It definitely doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah. Which helps.
Yeah.
But it's like you have moments of like laughing or like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, seriously?
Yep. But thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
Well, if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal available. And you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye!